Let's talk about burnout. So I had another video that I wanted to make this week. Unfortunately, I wasn't really able to. And that's not because of any, specific reason. It's not like I was moving or I was, helping someone else with something that would take all weekend, or finally finishing unpacking stuff from when I moved earlier this year. No, it was just, I just couldn't. I could not do it. I sat down, I wrote notes, I made a little mind map kind of thing. Was hoping that the process of making that would make writing an actual kind of structured outline or some kind of script a little bit more easy. It didn't. So instead I'm making this video, and we're going to talk about burnout, which is, I'm pretty sure, the reason why I'm having trouble making videos right now. So you've probably heard of burnout. It's that state of exhaustion that you get to after a period of prolonged stress. For example, after living through a multiple year-long panini, that could induce a state of burnout. The last time I experienced burnout was 2017, probably. I had finished college and started another job that was just fairly demanding. I was in the office between 9 and 10 hours most days. I had a 2-hour commute one way. And I remember just that feeling of dreading every little item on my to-do list and just feeling unable to take care of normal stuff. It was hard to eat. It was hard to bathe. It was hard to sleep. It was hard to fold clothes after I washed and dried them. Everything, all the personal care, home care tasks became just almost impossible. And it showed if you looked at my living spaces. But I tried not to let it show in my work, and I think that kind of perpetuated the state of burnout. Eventually I had to leave that position and really just take some time off. Turns out it actually takes years to recover from burnout. Fun fact. So I took off maybe 9 or 10 months between that job and starting a grad program. So I did take time off. I did some more relaxing stuff in the meantime, and I was able to get support from my family, so I didn't have to stress about not having a full-time job during that period. I don't know if I ever really recovered from that state of burnout. I think I got better, definitely. But here I am a couple years later, and I'm feeling a bit like that again, except this time it's not my job. My job is good. It's not overly demanding. I like the work. It doesn't have that 2-hour commute. Everything's gravy there. So I've been trying to figure out why am I burnt out? I think it's probably the panorama. Anyway, so this video is just going to be me kind of monologuing about burnout. I've got a few notes that I wrote on an envelope. So I kind of talked a bit about what burnout can look like and what it can feel like, and I want to get into that a little bit more. And talk about just my experience right now. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look very good either. I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time just eating again. And it's not that I don't get hungry. It's not that I don't desire to eat, but I can't think of anything I want. And so I'm I find myself just eating slices of whole grain bread and opening a can of beans and just microwaving that in a bowl and eating that, or just the most utilitarian, sad meals is what I keep coming up with, because the mental energy is not there to really come up with anything better. I'm having trouble sleeping. I've always had sleep issues, but I'm waking up for 4 to 5 hours in the middle of the night. I wake up at 3, I fall back asleep at 7, I wake up at 7:30. Or it's or it can look like being unable to take care of the home. For example, right now my house, I've always had trouble with keeping things neat and organized. I have an executive functioning disorder, so that kind of comes with the territory. Oh, and speaking of which, I think all the issues I'm describing are my executive dysfunction just being exacerbated by me not having the spoons, frankly. But my house is just like, you can't see it. I might show you some clips, but it's a wreck. If I want to have people over, I have to spend hours cleaning up in order to have them over, and it's an incredibly stressful experience. And then by the next day, it's like a tornado went through my living room. Like, I don't know why. And I just feel bleh. Like, it's hard for me to want to do things, and it's hard for me to get the energy to do things. Like, I had plans over the weekend with some friends, and I was so stressed out about having to get ready and go pick up something from the store that I was supposed to bring and drive myself to them that I was like crying on the floor of my room. I could not fathom getting myself ready, making it to the store, taking myself to my friend's house, because in my mind I had like catastrophized this thing and like turned it into this incredibly detailed 100-step process that I was gonna have to go through. And I don't know. I had to text my friends and like ask them, hey, can we push this back by a few hours? Because I am struggling. And so I think that's coming into my YouTube channel. I think just like everything else that I like doing and that I typically do for myself, like making sure my house is relatively tidy and making sure, all of my home tasks get done. I'm having a hard time doing those things. I think it's burnout. I don't know what the answer is. I can't take years off work. I don't want to take years off work. I like my job. So this video is just like talking about it, I guess. And I'm going to talk about some ideas I have and some things I've been trying to do to manage it. But like, I feel like it's getting worse. So I don't know. If you relate to this, let me know what works for you or what doesn't. So I already said I'm not like in a position to like not work, and I wouldn't want to do that because I enjoy the work that I do. So I have to figure out how to manage this burnout. Ideally, that would involve ending the palindrome that is currently going on. I think that would probably help relieve my burnout quite a bit. Unfortunately, I cannot single-handedly do that. So I've got to come up with other ideas. Lately, I've been doing stuff like trying to go outside every day for a few minutes, look at the sky, feel the sun. Try to put dishes, when they're dirty, into the dishwasher so that you don't actually have to load the dishwasher. Unfortunately, that requires me to unload the dishwasher after I run it, which I'm having a hard time doing. I've been trying to make sure I'm stocked up on microwave meals because when I can't think of anything to make or anything I want, a microwave meal is a good way to not have bread and black beans for dinner for like the third night in a row. Spending time with Poe helps quite a bit. She is my baby. I love her. The light of my world. That's really all I got. I started playing a video game that I used to like as a kid because I figured I'm pretty good at it now that I'm an adult and I've played it like a million times and it's nostalgic. So that's been fun. That's actually been something I've been looking forward to doing every day is just, making my way through that game. It's Ratchet and Clank for anyone curious. I'm about to beat that game and move on to the second Ratchet and Clank game. But other than that, I don't really know. I'm trying to give myself breaks. I'm trying not to push myself. It's hard for me to understand why I'm feeling burnt out in some ways. I think that's because we hold ourselves to higher standards than we need to because, again, we're living through a parachute right now. So that's constant stress on you. Every time you leave your house, you're thinking about it. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm burnt out. It doesn't matter that most other things are pretty good. Because this other thing is like weighing over everything. So that's probably what's causing it. But I don't know what this means for my channel because I want to keep making weekly videos. I do. I just don't know. I don't know if I can maintain that. it could be that I start making videos that are more like this some of the time, where I'm just kind of like, here is the thing that's on my mind and I'm just going to talk about it, which is sort of what I was already doing, but I would put a lot of research into it and like try to really organize my thoughts. Whereas this, like I wrote out things on an envelope that was lying on the floor because I hadn't picked it up for weeks. And this is like my least put together script, outline, whatever, that I've had in like months. So I don't know what this means for my channel. I want to keep regular uploads. I like this channel. I like the, community that I feel like I'm cultivating. I really appreciate everyone who watches and comments, and everybody who loves Poe, because I love her too. And I appreciate that the world seems to be appreciating her. But I don't know. I'm just like, I'm kind of struggling right now. And it's weird because if you ask me how I'm doing, if you're like my friend, I'll tell you, oh, I'm good. Everything's good. Just working, trying to enjoy the last of summer, playing a new old video game. That's what I'll tell you. And on the outside, I think I do look like I'm doing good. My work isn't slipping in any way. I'm getting everything done there. If I have people over, I do clean the parts of the house that people will see. It appears that I've got my stuff together for the most part. Even in therapy, if my therapist asks me how I'm doing, I'll be like, I'm fine, I think I'm fine. Hard to say. That's something that I've been working on in therapy, actually, is like actually knowing how I'm feeling. I don't know very often. Which is another reason I struggle with things like eating, because I don't notice that I'm hungry until I am like very hungry. So yeah, this is this week's video, me talking to you. I hope somebody watches this. I'm sure it will not get like Gabby Hanna level numbers, but I think I do have some viewers who enjoy my content for me, so hopefully y'all are here. This will probably be fairly unedited. I think I took some video clips of like my shame piles of clothes. Might put those in there somewhere. You might have already seen them. That's this week's video. I hope that you have a pretty good day. If you are experiencing burnout, I hope you find a few minutes today to just like sit and look at the wall, or something else that you consider restful. I think we all need it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!